Hello, hello, friends. Guess what this is? This is the last chapter of Box of Shocks. I feel like we've really been on a journey. If you're watching all the videos at once, not so much of a journey for you. But I've been reading this since last spring, and we're finally finishing it today. So let's jump into chapter 16. Whew. Dad picks me up after school to take the parrot back to Grandpa Golly's. As we pull away from the school, Diggory's heading in the other direction, lugging the bucket with the fish down the sidewalk on his way to the bottle depot. "Dad," I say, "could we give that boy a lift? His bucket's pretty heavy."
"I'd like to, Ollie," Dad replies, "but we're already late. We have to drop off the parrot at Grandpa Golly's house, then you have a dentist appointment. We can give him a lift some other time when we're not in such a hurry."
"That's okay," I say. "Maybe we could give him a lift to school tomorrow morning."
"Sure, that's a good idea,"
Dad says. The next morning on the way to school, I scan the sidewalk as we drive down the street. I don't see Diggory. Most days we pass him on our first block just around the corner, but not today. When I get to school, I look everywhere, checking the spot where Diggory normally leans against the gym wall, the corner of the library where he normally hides, the other classrooms, but I don't see him. During class, I keep my eyes glued to the classroom door, watching, waiting for Diggory to show up, but he never does. After school, Mom picks me up and I ask her to stop at the bottle depot. I look in through the front door. Today there's a teenage girl sorting the bottles and cans. When we get home, I look across the street. There are no lights on in the house, and the car isn't there. It's supposed to be there. It's 3:20. It's always in the driveway at 3:20, but not today. That night, I sit by my bedroom window, resting my elbows on the window ledge, watching and waiting, staring at Diggory's house. For once, I'm hoping that the noisy car will pull up or that Diggory will walk up the street. I watch and wait until it's way past my bedtime. I wait and watch until my clock radio says it's midnight. My eyelids grow heavy, so I slap myself in the face. I have to stay awake because there's a chance the car will pull into the driveway or a light might come on in the house. I lift my head from my arm. My clock radio says 5:38 a.m. When I look out across the street, I can tell something is wrong. Diggory's house looks the same as it did last night. There's no one home. On my way to school that morning, there is no Diggory shuffling along the sidewalk. When I get to school, I check all the usual places, but I don't see him. All day, his desk sits empty. At the end of school, I fish a couple of empty bottles out of the recycling bin. On my way home, I ask Dad to stop off at the bottle depot. He gives me a puzzled look. So I say, "It's about Diggory, the kid from our old house. He works there, or he used to." Dad nods and parks in front of the bottle depot without asking any more. I run to the door and walk in. At the back where Diggory usually works, there's an older lady sorting cans and bottles. "Excuse me," I call. "Is Diggory working today?" The lady shakes her head and scowls. "Supposed to. He didn't show up for the last 2 days. You need a job, kid?" I shake my head and leave. When Dad pulls into the driveway of our house, I look across the street. There's still no sign of life in Diggory's house. No car and no lights on. I skip my usual snack and go straight up to my room. Instead of doing homework, I stare out the window at my old house. No matter how hard I look, I don't see any signs of life. The place is deserted. The next morning, nothing has changed. The house looks empty, and for the 3rd day in a row, Diggory doesn't show up at school. I ask Miss Franson if she knows where Diggory's gone, but she says, "I was going to ask you the same question." Again, that night, I spend my homework time staring out the window and wondering where Diggory and his family have gone. It would be easy for them to move. They could probably fit everything they own in the trunk of that little old car and drive off into the sunset. Later, at the dinner table, as I'm lifting a forkload of peas to my mouth, Dad says,
I'm afraid you may have seen the last of your friend Diggory, Oliver.
My fork falls with a clatter to my plate. Really? I say. Why? What happened?
Mum's boss told her the family never did pay their rent. Now they're nowhere to be found. They've probably skipped town. I'm sorry, Oliver, Mum says. I know you were trying your best to be Diggory's friend.
When I go back up to my room, I look out the window at Diggory's old house. Even though Diggory and his family are gone, I can't help staring at the house and wondering where he went. I wonder if he took Bubbles with him. From what I've seen and what I've heard, Diggory's got a pretty tough life. But I have a feeling there's a whole lot more secrets I'll never know about. Sort of like my box of shocks. At least now it'll be a lot easier to get my box of shocks from its hiding place. I won't have to worry about people suddenly showing up. I won't have to escape through the window or hide in the cupboard. When I look back on it, sneaking into their house was way more dangerous than trick-or-treating at the Melbourne house. His parents were way scarier than Spike McChomp. Too bad I didn't have something from Diggory's family to put into my box of shocks. As I finish clearing the dishes from the supper table that night, I say, there's something in the old house that I have to get. Mom and Dad both look up and glance at each other.
Does this have something to do with Diggory?
Dad asks. I think for a second and then I say, yeah, it does. If it wasn't for my box of shocks, I never would have gotten to know about Diggory and his life. You don't have to worry about me this time, I say. I've been watching the house. It's empty. I'll only be in there a couple minutes. Mom's boss won't mind, will he? Mom and Dad look at each other again. It's like they're talking between themselves without words. They nod at each other and Mom says, I'm sure my boss wouldn't mind.
Do you want me to come along?
Dad says. Thanks anyway, but I have to go by myself, I reply. Mom gives my shoulder a squeeze and says, just be careful. Thanks, I say. By the time I'm ready to go, it's dark. I take my headlamp and a garbage bag for my box of shocks. As I head out my front door and across the street, I wonder where Diggory is right now. Maybe they found another place to rent. Maybe the parents got jobs in another city. Or maybe they just skipped town. As I cross the street, there isn't a sound except for the buzzing of the streetlight. No dogs barking or birds chirping. No car engines or music blaring from the house 2 doors down. Nothing but the buzzing of the streetlight. Diggory's old house is pitch black. With the family gone, it seems darker than dark. When I get to the backyard, I click on my headlamp and get the key from under the rock and head to the back door. With the house empty, I don't worry about the back steps creaking. I put the key in, jiggle it, and give it a turn and push. This time the door swings open, and a cold breeze blows out from inside the house. I step into the kitchen, my headlamp scanning the floor, the walls, even the ceiling. The cupboards are completely bare except for an empty cracker box. There are a few crumpled wrappers on the floor. Besides that, there's nothing. The place is so silent, so empty, it's downright spooky. I look in the living room to see their old lawn chair is gone. Then for some reason, I creep through the hallway and up the stairs as if the place is booby-trapped. Don't ask me why I walk like this. It's not like, with no one here, I could ride a dirt bike through the house if I felt like it. But for some reason, I feel like creeping. Finally, I reach my old room and push the door open. I shine my headlamp around the room and see that the old mattress is gone. All I can see are a few bits of broken glass from Bubbles' fishbowl. Other than that, the room is totally empty. I cross the room to the closet and stop to take another look around. I can still see the faded outline of the walls where my posters were. There are kick marks in the wall where my desk used to be, but this isn't my room anymore. It's nobody's room. When I open the closet door, I see the wall panels still in place. I slip my fingers in the cracks at the top and bottom and give it a wiggle and feel it come loose. I put the panel on the floor and shine my light through the opening in the wall. There it is, just as I left it, my box of shocks. It's like seeing an old friend again. As I reach in, my fingertips feeling the rough wood, I pull it out. It feels heavier than I remember. I step out of the closet, set the box down on the floor and kneel over it. There's no hurry. I thought I would be more excited about finally getting my box of shocks out of its hiding place, but I'm not. I don't know why, but I'm not. Maybe when I open the box and look at my shocks, I'll feel excitement again. I slide the latch open and hold the edges of the lid with my fingertips. I slowly tilt the lid open and shine my headlamp down into the box. There's the Halloween candy. Beside it is the piece of spike. Next to them, the picture of Mr. Creepy and the wrapper from the Wally Wowzer burger. One by one, I lift them out of the box and place them on the floor. As I lift out the picture of Mr. Creepy, I see something I don't remember putting in the box. There's a piece of cookie wrapped in plastic. Next to that is a piece of broken glass. I can tell by the way it curves it's from the broken fishbowl. There's something else at the bottom in the corner of the box. I roll up a rolled up piece of paper tied with a string. I pick it up. For a roll of paper, it feels heavy, like there's something inside. When I pull the ends of string to loosen the knot, the paper unrolls and something clatters off across the floor into the darkness. I lift my head and the beam of my headlamp shines out. There, sitting on the bare floor, is my bolt. I look back at the piece of paper. There's writing on it, scrawled in a blue crayon. It says, "Thank you. I won't forget. From your friend, Diggory." I read the note 2 more times. Then I do something I've never done before when I think about Diggory. I smile. Carefully, I put all the treasures back into the box, including the piece of broken glass, the cookie, and the note. Then I close the box and take it back to the closet. It slides back into its place in the wall like it belongs there. I put the wooden panel back up and give it a tap to make sure it isn't going to fall off. Then I leave the closet, close the door behind me, and head for home. The end. We did it! I really hope you guys like this book as much as I do. I mean, how exciting would it be to move into a new house and find this secret latch in your closet with a box of treasures in it? I would absolutely add to that box. It's such a wonderful story. It's so exciting. If I see you guys in the hallway, please let me know what you think about it. Let me know what your favorite part of this book was. I do plan on starting another chapter book. It will be a surprise as to which one that is. Maybe a surprise to both of us. But I truly hope you enjoyed our adventure with a box of shocks. I'll see you guys around. Please be safe.